Welcome to Infinite Stories. Tonight, I will be reading you guys a chapter from my self-published book, Infinite's Guilty Pleasure. I'm extremely excited to be able to read you guys a chapter of my book. It's been a long time coming. For those of you who are subscribed to my podcast, RedLips RedWine RealTalk, the podcast which is available on all podcast streaming sites, Apple, Buzzsprout, Deezer, iHeartRadio, and so on and so forth. For those of you who are subscribed, you guys have probably heard this chapter before, but this is for those of you who have not. And go ahead to the chat to RedLips RedWine RealTalk and listen to my audible version of Infinite Stories, because there will be a small excerpt of the book that I will be reading to you guys here on YouTube. Well, you could just stay tuned, because those short excerpts that I have on my podcast, I'm bringing them here to YouTube for all of you, my subscribers, to check it out and let me know what you think. And if you like what you hear tonight, you can purchase Infinite's Guilty Pleasure, available on Amazon and Kindle. The link will be on the channel and also listed down below. So, with that being said, get your wine glasses, your bottle of sweet red wine, pull up and pour up, and let's get into tonight's story. Period. Infinite's Guilty Pleasure. Introduction. Chapter 1. Crave. Crave me, need me, wants me. Infinite. Crave. A powerful desire for something. I've always been intrigued by women, especially their anatomy. It did something to me. I can still remember my first female crush. I was 9 years old. Her name was Courtney, and she was 10 years old. Looked like Lil Bow Wow and captivated me. I remember that as the beginning of my attraction to a woman's curves. I loved everything about them. Their faces, asses, breasts, and their lips. There was something about seeing a woman's curves that just intrigued me. I grew up an only child. My parents were married. We lived a traditional family lifestyle. Dad had a job in corporate America, and my mom owned her own hair salon while she did hair and makeup on the side. I was never really into boys besides the ones who had feminine features. Light-skinned boys with curly hair and bright eyes. Those were typically my type. My parents always suspected that I would turn out to be a lesbian because I never wanted to wear skirts or dresses. I was a tomboy. I always wanted to kick it with the fellas. Rock climb, ride bikes, go swimming, play ball. They named me the girliest name you could think of, Rose Devon Jones. It means Alligator Goddess of Light. It was cool, but it was the cause of teasing all through middle school by that lame-ass, low self-esteem squad who had nothing better to do. They would sing Ring Around the Rosie and call me a flower bush. It was no big thing because I've always been confident, but it was annoying as fuck. I was too busy staring at the teachers' asses, admiring their breasts and their curves and all that came along with them. It gave me such an exciting sensation. Women have always been stunning to look at. My craving for women intensified as I grew older. I wanted them more and more. There were just certain things about a woman that got my adrenaline pumping and ready for takeoff. I loved it. I thrived off the passion and dopamine from each touch. The thought of a pussy in my mouth has my mind in a frenzy. Just imagining a soap lap that stimulates me mentally. My strongest desires were ones that I believe no one would understand. It seems that I'm addicted to the intimacy. It strokes my ego. I have to have it. It's been a while since I had some pussy and I could use a taste. I want it. I'm craving it. I fall deeply into thoughts about my next move. I wonder who I'll encounter next. I have someone in mind. Let me see. Chapter 1. Well, introduction, Crave. So, the next chapter is sexual frustration. I'm going to give y'all just a little bit of the first chapter, but I'm not really going to go too deep into it. And if you guys like this story and you want me to read more of the story, just leave a comment down below and I'll keep going. So let's get into chapter 1, sexual frustration. Synonyms: exasperation, annoyance, irritation. Definition: a sense of dissatisfaction stemming from a discrepancy between a person's desired and achieved sexual activity. Laying in my bed, I craved her touch. I wanted someone to let me in, not just anyone, her. Who is she? That was the question I found myself asking. As I prepared for my work week, all I could think about was who I could get my hands on. There were so many women to choose from, but I couldn't decide on who my next piece would be. After ironing my work uniform, I sat on my bed. I grew bored, so I decided to scroll on my Instagram and Facebook to see who was out for a nightcap. I began scrolling, looking for a victim, but everyone was occupied. I put my phone down, laid back on my bed, took a deep breath, and closed my eyes. It looked as if I'd be going to bed alone yet again. I began to wonder why it was such a challenge for me to bid in a fish. And I came up with a solution. I needed a strategy. Everyone was always so infatuated by my personality and my way with words. When I whispered sweet nothings into the air, women seemed to follow my voice and come with me. I had to do little to no work to get between those thighs. I found myself needing to be fulfilled more intimately the more I had sex. It started to become an obsession that I wasn't ready to admit. Shit, if you ask me, I would just end it for the intimacy. There was never anyone in particular that I had to have it from, as long as it was a woman and my needs were met. I could have anyone, but my particular taste for women varied depending on the craving. I could feel my body reacting to a daydream I was having of a woman straddling my lap. She was sitting on top of me, bouncing up and down. I laid there for a minute, allowing the juices from the imaginary woman to flow onto me. I wanted it so badly. I wanted so badly for it to be real. Just as she was about to reach her peak, my phone rang and disturbed my dream. I was brought back to reality. I opened my eyes and sighed deeply and turned my head in the direction of my phone. I picked it up and the caller ID read mother. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. But if you guys like what you are hearing or what you've heard, let me know down in the comments below, and I will continue to read Infinite's Guilty Pleasure. For now, we're going to stop the reading. And if you guys, want to hear more, let me know. But, I do want to, which I am not what I do want to do, but what I am going to do is really give you guys an insight on how the story began. Where did I get my inspiration from? What's the backstory pretty much. So, for now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to end this episode of Infinite Stories. And I'll be back to read you guys some more bedtime stories in the near future. But go ahead, before I go, like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And let me know what you think down below. Alright? Peace.